Now, taking a deload. Deload is classified as like a reducing training volume. So effectively, you're taking time off training in some way, shape, or form. Now, the reason why you'd want to do these is that over a period of time of when you've done a training program and you're steadily progressing over time and you're building and building and building, there will become a point where the level of fatigue you're accumulating every week will be at a high point, so that you'll be either extra fatigued, your nervous system will be very, very taxed, and you would benefit from a period of time off. Just for a small place to relax and recover your energy and then reduce that fatigue and then to go again. Now, for most people, when they do start training, they don't need a deload for a very long period of time. And that's because they're not taxing themselves. You know, if I've said to you in a video on your workouts, or your coach is saying to you, you need to do 5 more repetitions to really see that that's a set, or you could do 5 more, or you could add more weight, then to be honest, they're the things that you need to do before you really warrant a deload. Deloads come from you testing your capacity of your body and creating a level of fatigue that can't be recovered from in a week or 5 days or 6 days before you have to train that muscle group or that workout again. So make sure that when you want to deload, or you're coming to that maybe 6-12 month marker and you've been training for a while and you start feeling a little bit more tired, your sleep goes down and you feel more wired in the evenings. If you're struggling to relax and your training numbers kind of take a dive, even though you're doing exactly the same and food is in the right place, you'll probably warrant a deload at that point. There's probably 2 ways that you want to do this. One is that you take a full week off training, and that will be the easiest way for most people to do it. The other way is a bit more strategic, and it's where you go into the gym and you do weights, but or you go to your home or wherever we are during COVID, is that you are reducing the amount of weight that you lift to reduce the fatigue. So normally when you do 100 kilos, you're going to get high level of fatigue. If you do 60 kilos, based on you being able to do 100 kilos, 60 kilos won't be particularly heavy. So you do less weights over a period of over the week, and then you come back in maybe with the new training program, or you come back in with the same training program with that higher level of energy because you've reduced the fatigue over that week. There's no real right or wrong way to do it. If you go to a gym and you really enjoy pushing yourself, then for you going 60% or 50% is going to be very, very difficult. And sometimes it's actually worth just taking a week off. The headspace of not training allows you to kind of relax on that side of things. Probably got more time to do other things as well if you're going in the mornings, or get an extra hour's sleep or whatnot. But if you do want to go in and do the 60%, it's probably best at that point. That's where you start thinking about changing programs, and that's where you start thinking about taking that 60%, 50% dive in reps and in sets, in weight, and maybe reduce weight sets and reps too. So once you've done that, you'll be feeling a lot better over the long term, and therefore you can go through these periods of pushing, deloading, and then driving back up again, and deloading and pushing back up again, and that will be the way that the progress is really made. Most of the progress that we make is in those recovery phases, and when recovery is dampened, then our ability to build muscle, get stronger, develop the shape that we want will diminish. The longer you run into that fatigue, the longer you really push that fatigue to its point. So it's very, very advisable for those that are training hard to be able to figure out when that is, and when that point is that you do take that deload. For most people, if you're training progressively and you've got over that first 6 to 12 months, it's probably going to be around about the 12, depending on who you are and depending on how many times in the program you're going to failure. It could be 8, could be 12, could be 20 weeks that you need that break. So monitor those signs and symptoms, the level of fatigue that you're feeling when you wake up, if you're wired going to bed, if your progress completely plateaus or alters even though your food is in the right place, or even if you increase food and you're just feeling generally fatigued, and those elements will be your biggest factors. If that happens, then taking a week off and you're hitting high levels of failure. So if you're hitting the point where you can't move the weight anymore, and that's happening more often, then maybe that's the point that you need to take that deload.